because it is really arising above thinking. We already mentioned drugs or alcohol or getting tired as ways of falling below thinking. And then this is not the way we are going, regression. We are moving beyond thinking. And then thinking becomes a beautiful tool because there's no sense of self in it anymore. There's only the function of thinking. And it's a wonderful tool, and it will be so powerful when it's no longer burdened with dysfunction. When the ego is in thinking, identified with the mind, thinking is 95% of it is dysfunctional. And then the dysfunction will disappear from thinking, and you do not rely on thinking anymore to tell you who you are. And, equally important, you don't rely on thinking anymore in your relationships with other human beings. So a different dimension comes into your relationships, a dimension that is beyond object consciousness, where you immediately have little opinions and judgments about other people, and you are relating not to another human being, but to a screen of mental definitions about that human being. There's no meeting at all. There's no true relationship. So the ability to be with people, with nature, in that space of simple, alert attention increasingly comes into your life, where you go into a situation and you're not there as a conditioned thinker, but as a simple, spacious presence. And you look, you go to the meeting, and you're there as an awareness, a field of awareness. And I'm not just talking about it at this very moment. You can sit here as a thinker. What's he talking about, awareness? I can't quite figure out what that means. Of course not, because awareness, you can't find out what awareness is except by being aware. You can't find out what awakening is except by awakening. Awakening means to step out of identification with thinking and be the presence. Oh, you mean that? Yes. Just that. And then, at first, from the point of view of the mind, it looks as if nothing significant had happened when this shift occurs. And it's not a shift for most people that happens all at once. It is a gradual stepping out of identification with thinking, a rising of presence, a gradual increasing ability to be with things, to perceive against a background of spacious awareness rather than continual judgment or definition, an ability to sense your own presence beyond any thoughts or words and derive your sense of who you are from that rather than your personal history, which of course consists of a bundle of thoughts. Nothing wrong with that. You don't need to forget your personal history. But if that's all you think you are, then you've missed out on the most important thing in life, which is finding who you are beyond your personal history. So we enter into that new state, and then, because it's a gradual process, you fall back a few times into identification with thinking, negative states, complaints, blaming people or situations for my problems, which of course I created through my thinking, but I don't know that. And so I blame somebody else for that, And then it develops into a thought form that proliferates, and then no space, loss of space, dreadful condition, normal. And all the creatures of humanity pointed to this shift, the simple possibility of living so aligned with the present moment that you know yourself as the space for whatever arises. And whenever you know yourself as the space, you're not fighting what is, you become one with what is internally. And when you become one with what is, the very intelligence that underlies the entire universe then operates. And any situation that needs action, then it will arise out of that oneness with the situation. Right action arises, right words arise out of your oneness with what is, out of the space that you are when you accept this moment as it is, that simple thing. And as a little reminder, can I be the space for this? And conditions arise continuously in your life, good, bad, good, bad, 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 good, good. They arise continuously, and more you just are with what is, without this always immediately naming it as good or bad. It just is. And the totality of the universe has brought about the form of this moment. Of course, because everything is connected to everything else. So the totality of the universe has brought about the form that this moment takes. It couldn't be otherwise. So I might as well say, there it is, and be the space, which I am already. But now, knowingly, be the space for that. And then you are no longer disconnected from life. Life is no longer experienced as hostile, as it still is for many people, but the universe then becomes benign and even helpful, because then you are connected with the one intelligence. So whenever you enter, and you just try it out for a week, 2 weeks, whenever you can, be one with the present moment, even especially when before you would have reacted against it, especially when before the mind would have complained, when before the mind would have blamed somebody for my problems. Two illusions. There are no problems apart from the problems created by your thinking mind. What do you mean? I mean there are no problems except what the mind is doing. Apart from the mind, there are challenges. And the challenge can only arise at this moment. The challenge can only be dealt with in this moment. Challenges are real, and life never leaves you alone. It gives you one challenge after another, because otherwise you would go to sleep. It's that which keeps you awake, and that is the food for your practice. And that's why we said at the beginning, if you feel upset here as you came in, that's great. You have something to work with. What does that mean? It means you have something that you can bring your awareness to and be the space for that. And through something that before was upsetting, it can actually take you into the space underneath that you are. Use any conditions that arise, and no longer demand, which the ego does, and that's why the ego is so frustrated all the time, no longer demand that a particular condition should make you happy. Condition means a situation, it means a place, or it means a human being. This demand that he should do this to make me happy, she should do that to make me happy. This place is not good enough, it's not making me happy. This situation, a new situation you go into, should make me happy, but it isn't making me happy. Situations people, places are not there to make you happy, they are there to wake you up. So the world is not here to make you happy. Oh. Well, that's a relief, because it hasn't done it so far. The world is not here to make you happy, it's to wake you up. Well, or it can pull you into greater sleep. There's the two possibilities. Conditions are here to be transcended internally, so that internally you go beyond dependency on external conditions. And when I say external conditions, it includes the conditions of your mind, whatever thoughts are being produced in your mind. You transcend that. Transcend means you go beyond, and in other words, you realize that you are already beyond, essentially have always been beyond, but didn't know it. The timeless dimension of who you are. And then the great liberation is you don't have any particular opinions anymore about who you are. You just are, because you just are the space. You are the consciousness for this moment. That's all you are. You don't need an accumulation of thoughts called opinions that tell you who you are. Not good enough, better than, not as good as, hope to become better, did bad things in the past, did great things in the past, but not anymore, whatever. Hope to do great things in the future. Fine, on this level, why not do great things and have great, say, okay, I want to become a great actor, we're in LA, I want to become a great tennis player, okay, but don't look to that for happiness, for fulfillment, for finding yourself. That's fine, you play with the forms of life, it's beautiful, but don't take them too seriously. There are many unhappy actors, even those that made it. And some, quite a few, are awakening spiritually because they have everything and realize, oh, that's not it. Okay, then the illusion that something else that they could achieve would make them happy is gone, because there's nothing else that they could possibly achieve. And so the spiritual dimension, either the spiritual dimension opens up, which is they recognize the timeless within, or they become very unhappy and then try to take drugs so that they feel a little bit less unhappy. Can I be the space for this? Simple question, a simple pointer. After you've used that question, you need to go and see, okay, what does it mean to be the space? You go, spacious attention, just this. You look, you listen, and you know yourself as the awareness, as the space for whatever is happening. And then what's happening or not happening is not that important anymore. It's not so important that it can make you unhappy. The world then loses two things. It loses its ability to fulfill you because you realize it can't. It also loses its sense of threat. Because otherwise, when you're in the ego, there's always this dilemma. On the one hand, you're hoping that the future and the things that you could acquire in the future are going to make you happy and fulfilled. On the other hand, of course, the ego knows deep down the future or time, which is past and future. Time, of course, is going to kill me eventually. So it looks to time, hoping to get this or that, but knowing deep down, eventually it's all going to be taken away from me. But let's not think about that. And all you then end up with is this moment, all there ever is, and being the space for that. That's the shift in consciousness. So, if you're a spiritual seeker, let go of the future. You're not going to find enlightenment there, or liberation. Just what is. It's already here, and you are already it. Thank you.